Hi, it's me, Ingrid INFP. And I wanted to make a more serious video, but now I've given up. I have been trying to make a video for the past hour and a half, and yeah, I wanted to make something more fun and something more MBTI related because I'm tired of the autism. I'm tired of talking about autism. I'm tired of people discussing autism in my comments. I wanted to talk about MBTI because MBTI is a pseudoscience, and therefore we can claim whatever we want on this channel because there is no way to say that it is true or false. I wanted to go into a deep video about, the difference between pseudoscience and science and truth and reality and scientific facts and all sorts of stuff. And then I realized, you know what, I don't care. I am instead going to be talking about truth and reality regarding this bold claim by our friend of the channel, Vandelpiet. Is everybody an ISTJ in the end? Is personality real? Are personality types real? Are we all ISTJs? He made a song about it that was really catchy and I really love, and I have been thinking about that song non-stop for the past 3 days. It was a song that he just improvised on the spot, like the true auteur-compositeur that he is. I will not be able to do it justice, but so I'm not going to sing it. But it goes like this. It goes, does personality exist? Does it exist? No, it doesn't apparently. We are one, we are human. We're all ISTJs in the end. We're all ISTJs in the end. Ooh. And then admit it, you're an ISTJ. And that's the song. And it was exactly 1 minute long, so I managed to actually put it into a little short by remixing it. So there's no copyright claim, it's just there. I put some random videos to it that I thought kind of fit, and there we go. Now, do I think that personality exists? Yes. Do I think that personality types exist? Yes, but less sure. And do I think that INFPs are secretly ISTJs? No, I don't. I don't think that we're all ISTJs, because then that means that there's no MBTI personality system at all. Is the MBTI real? Hard to say. I'd say that personality types and MBTI is real, but is it the truth? Maybe not. I think that the difference between reality and truth is that reality is subjective and encompasses more things, because lies are a part of reality in a way, you could say. It's our reality. Well, you could say that truth is more objective and it's a part of reality. It has to be. Those are just my definitions, but that doesn't mean that MBTIs are lies. I'm just saying that it might not be true because it is not scientifically valid and there is no proof of it. I think that MBTI is a pseudoscience, but I'm fine with that because that means that nothing is true or nothing is false about it. You can claim whatever you want as long as it is pertinent to your own experience and that you use it in a way that helps you understand yourself and others and that doesn't harm anybody. Then I think that it is a real thing. Now, I wanted to make a much more detailed video about reality and truth and whatever, but instead we're going to be talking about it through this lens. Are we all ISTJs? No. I don't know why ISTJ is always like the type, the nondescript type, the basic type that people think. It is because, according to some statistic, it's the most common type. The statistic is not really scientifically valid either. It's based on observations from people that, oh well, most people seem to think this way, and the ISTJ way of thinking is what seems to be most valued by our society nowadays. Or maybe not even the most valued by society nowadays. It was the way that people wanted you to be. But it might not be still true nowadays. Now, there's a lot more focus on innovation and that kind of thing, rather than just people don't stay at their workplaces for 30 years anymore. Now, my ISTJ dad has managed to do that, which congrats to him, but that's not really the reality anymore. Nowadays, we need people who are more adaptable. But we still see that most people are SJs, just from experience, just being around in the world. Most people that you'll meet will be SJs. And I wished I was an ISTJ, because that means that I would probably manage the world much better. And also I would have a better relationship with my dad. Because we're not really connecting very deep, me and my dad. Like, we're not having a conflict or anything, but we don't have the greatest of relationships because we're not very similar. We have the same cognitive functions, which leads to a kind of good solid foundation for just managing, but we are not very similar in the ways, like what we find important, what we find less important. What I find boring, he finds interesting, and the other way around, And so, no, I don't think that I'm an ISTJ. I don't think that INFPs in general are ISTJs. We can't all be the same MBTI type, because that means that there is no MBTI. We can't all be the same MBTI type, because that means that the whole system crumbles, which might be the point. It might be the point, but yeah, we are not going there. So anyway, then Older INFP Insights made a reaction video to Von Pete's video about personality and reaction to his song about ISTJs. And she said that she might be an ISTJ because she likes people in uniform. Now, yeah, that is more of a sign of you being an INFP, because it's the inferior function is what you admire. And if you admire TE things in other people and you suck at it yourself, then that means that you're an INFP. So I'm not saying that we suck, like we're the worst at it, but we just are not great at TE things. And so when we see somebody who's really an embodiment of TE, we'll be like, whoa, I wish I were like that. That would make things so much easier. And so that's why opposites attract, But I wouldn't trade being an INFP for being an ESTJ or ENTJ. But I can see the appeal, And I'm not saying that I'm into uniforms, okay? But I do wear a uniform at work. I wear scrubs. I don't wear the doctor's gown, not gown, lab coat. I don't wear that. I should probably, because I feel uncomfortable with the authority aspect of it. Maybe I should, I don't know. But I did want to be a pilot when I was small, and I did like the the pilot's uniform. So there is maybe some kind of inferior TE envy, weird obsession thing going on. That is how the inferior function kind of appears in weird ways. And yeah, there is some kind of attraction to the TE realm when you're an INFP. That doesn't make you an ISTJ. An ISTJ would be out in the open and be like very good at the TE stuff. But the INFP has to do it in hidden, strange ways. Just like how an ISTJ has NE, but it comes out in strange ways. For example, when like strange fears about catastrophes happening that won't really ever happen. That's the kind of NE stuff. And I'm not friends with an ISTJ, but I'm friends with an ISFJ, and he really looks up to my NE. He finds it really fascinating. And I think, and he secretly likes diving into that silly world, but he won't ever admit it. And I think that is kind of this obsession with any zaniness, even though that is not his primary strength, you know? So, no, we are not all ISTJs. Personality, I think, is real because it is part of identity. It's part of being human, of having feelings, of all being a little bit different. We're not all the same, even though some people will claim that we're all one and we're all human. We're all ISTJs in the end. No, I mean, I did look up this. There was a period where when I was friends with my INFJ friend, we would, when we first met, we talked a lot about how I thought that identity was created within the self, and it was important that was, you know, in the end, we started blending our two ideas of identity. His version of identity was that who you are is determined of how others perceive you, about your actions. But I said, well, you know, you might have actions and you might have had a certain intention that they didn't understand. So would you say that what other people are saying about you is the truth of who you are? And so we had this discussion, and then I started realizing, yeah, well, who I think I am might be untrue because other people might perceive me in a completely different way, and that the way that they perceive me might be more objective than the way that I'm seeing myself. So, for example, apparently my best friend thought that I had autism, and I was like, no, I don't have autism. And then it ends up that I had autism, you know. So we can be wrong about ourselves, you know. And so there needs to be a balance of like, how do we perceive ourselves? How do others perceive us? But I think the identity is real. However, when we've started going into this rabbit hole of like, what is identity? I was looking at a lot of articles about that. This was like 3 years ago, so I don't remember everything. But I remember that I stumbled upon the Ubuntu way of thinking, and how a person is not a person without everybody else. So you are just part of the community. You are not a separate entity that has its own identity. You are one with everyone. And it's different from like the Western idea of identity. But it is important to try to look at different perspectives. Of course, I would believe that personality is true and that we all have our individual identity, because I grew up in a Western perspective in my entire life. So obviously my version of what is real will be different from what another person's reality. That doesn't mean that I know the truth or that they know the truth. We just have different realities. And so that's where I think that I'll end this. I don't know much about philosophy because I didn't study philosophy at school. So Wonderpiet, please help me out on here because you actually studied philosophy. Maybe he had more of an idea of like what different theories there are on reality and truth that I don't really know. Because I know that there's a whole field of study in philosophy that's about that. Is it ontology? I don't know. There's a certain field of philosophy that is about like knowing what is reality. And yeah, I don't know really. I did remember thinking that, oh, this is interesting, this Ubuntu philosophy, because it is true actually, in a way. In a way, it is. There is no proof that these things are true or untrue. But you could say that we are all human, and it is kind of silly to just think that, well, that would be all that different, just because we're separate beings. We were all born with the same brain, kind of. We have different neuronal stuff, but we have the same. We all have certain needs that need to be met, and I think that I need to look more into that. But I remember having a real perspective shift when I read about that, because it's like, wow, okay, all these things that I thought were so clear are actually just a cultural construct, you know? And just because it's a cultural construct doesn't mean that it's not real. It just means that it's not the objective truth. For me, MBTI is real because I have integrated the framework into my brain for so many years that I have been able to make sense of the world through that lens. But there are many other lenses that I could have used to decipher the world. But for me, that is my lens and that is my reality, which might be different from your reality. But that's why I would say that it is real, and for me it exists. Does that mean that it's the truth and only truth? No, it does not. But that's where I am on the subject. Don't quote me about the uniforms thing, and also about my terrible rendition of Wonderpiet's song. If you want to listen to it, it's on his channel, but I've also made a music video about it with some random videos to the tune of his song. His song was exactly 1 minute, so that actually fits exactly into the frame of Ashworth. But so yeah, have a great day, everybody.